exploring the impact of sorcery within the Muslim community, the research conducted by Yahya Suleiman of Nasarawa State University, Kefi, Nigeria, and Muhammad Maga Sul of Usmanu Danfodio University, Sokoto, Nigeria, provides valuable insights into the pernicious effects of such practices. Their study highlights how weak faith among some Muslims leads them to seek the assistance of sorcerers for worldly gains, resulting in significant harm to themselves and others. Through the application of Islamic dawah principles, the research proposes a strategy to counteract these harmful influences. Interviews conducted as part of the study reveal the disruption sorcery causes in family dynamics, marriages, and personal finances. The researchers also note that individuals who confront the truth about their involvement in sorcery often express regret. By employing a survey method and in-depth interviews, Suleiman and Sul emphasize the need for sustained dawah efforts to address and mitigate the impact of sorcery, urging the engagement of various stakeholders in certain Africa countries and beyond. Notably, this topic has been largely overlooked by scholars, resulting in a significant gap in research on the subject. Islam offers a holistic framework for life, addressing both temporal and spiritual concerns, as a divine revelation from Allah intended to guide humanity. The process of dawah has been instrumental in spreading Islam, leading to its adoption by diverse populations. Within a short span, Islam expanded across various regions, encompassing both Arab and non-Arab territories. Scholars, considered the heirs of the prophets, bear the critical responsibility of dawah, which involves disseminating Islamic teachings to non-Muslims while guiding and educating current adherents. It remains a fundamental duty for Muslims to propagate the truth and lead others towards the path of Islam. The practice of magic and occult arts stands in direct opposition to Islamic principles. Drawing upon the research of Yahya Suleiman and Muhammad Maga Sul, Islam categorically prohibits all forms of sorcery and dark practices. Their findings indicate that individuals often resort to magic as a means to resolve difficult situations or to gain personal advantages. Parallel studies, such as those conducted by Forsyth and Eves in Melanesia, demonstrate that while magic is employed to prevent conflict and violence, it simultaneously contributes to social disruption. These works collectively explore the societal impacts of the dark arts and efforts to address the violence associated with sorcery. Further research by Gechiko Nyabwari and Nkonge Kajima sheds light on the profound effects of magic and witchcraft within African societies, permeating economic, political, and spiritual domains. Despite ongoing efforts to promote religious teachings, such as Christianity, the challenges posed by sorcery remain entrenched. Their study underscores the pervasive influence of witchcraft on the daily lives of Africans, revealing both its perceived benefits and detrimental effects. To counteract these un-Islamic practices, the Quran provides essential guidance. Allah, through the Quran, seeks to lead humanity out of darkness and warns against deviating from his path. The Quran affirms the prophethood of Muhammad and emphasizes the universal nature of his mission. Muhammad is not the father of any man among you, but he is the messenger of Allah and the seal of the prophets. Allah is all-knowing of everything. Quran 33:40. Additionally, the Quran emphasizes the role of Prophet Muhammad as a bringer of glad tidings and a warner to all humanity. And we have not sent you, O Muhammad, except as a bringer of good tidings and a warner to all mankind, but most people do not know. Quran 34:28. The Quran consistently warns against sorcery, presenting it as a grave transgression against the divine order. It declares, "So fear Allah and be mindful of Him, O people of understanding who have believed. Allah has indeed sent down to you a reminder, the Quran, and a messenger, Muhammad, who recites to you the verses of Allah, containing clear explanations, so that He may bring those who believe and do righteous deeds out of darkness into light. And those who believe in Allah and perform righteous deeds, He will admit them into gardens beneath which rivers flow, to dwell therein forever. Allah has indeed granted them an excellent provision." Quran 65:10-11. Sorcery, with its origins tracing back to ancient times, has permeated various cultures, leaving significant societal impacts. In Muslim societies, these practices are often met with suspicion and disdain, largely due to their association with malevolence and misfortune. Jasper Sorensen posits that magic should be understood not merely as a perceptual experience but as a deliberate act by its practitioners. Sorcery represents a clash between established religious practices and unconventional supernatural methods, highlighting a tension between traditional norms and disruptive practices. Islam, as a universal religion, offers moral and spiritual guidance intended for all humanity. Promoting its teachings and discouraging practices that may erode faith is of paramount importance. Although some individuals may recognize the inherent wrongfulness of sorcery, they might resort to such practices under extreme circumstances, using them as an escape from life's challenges. In doing so, they often overlook the inherent dignity of humanity, as descendants of Adam, who are superior to the jinn they seek to manipulate through occult means. The Quran asserts, "We have provided mankind with explanations through various parables in this Quran, yet many people reject the truth, choosing disbelief." Quran 17:89. Sorcery has maintained a significant role in various spiritual, religious, and medicinal contexts throughout history, often conducted in secrecy and shrouded in suspicion. This work examines the prevalence of sorcery among Muslims in certain African regions, exploring its impact on religious practices and proposing solutions rooted in Islamic dawah. A qualitative research methodology is utilized to explore the role of magic within this African society. The study begins by assessing public trust in witchcraft for personal gain, followed by an evaluation of the consequences of such practices, and finally identifies the factors sustaining belief in witchcraft. Data were collected from various sources within an African context and analyzed through relevant theoretical frameworks. Sorcery is defined by its inherent malevolence, setting it apart from benign magical practices. Unlike medicine, which aims to heal, sorcery is intrinsically harmful, serving only the interests of the practitioner. It involves the misuse of both medicinal and magical knowledge, often referred to as black magic or malevolent medicine. Sorcery employs toxic substances, whether physical or spiritual, introduced covertly into food or drink or administered directly to unsuspecting victims. It manifests through spells, curses, and poisoning, utilizing medicinal substances in a secretive and antisocial manner. Sorcery relies on human agency combined with supernatural methods to secure personal advantages, such as luck, health, and fertility, or to inflict harm on others. The association of sorcery with malevolent intentions suggests that such beliefs and practices may disrupt societal harmony by fostering individualism and undermining communal trust and cooperation. The term, sorcerer, refers to an individual believed to cause harm through illicit magical practices, while witch denotes someone thought to cause harm due to specific personality traits. Sorcery involves deliberate and intentional magical actions that grant the practitioner personal power. Sorcerers typically acquire knowledge of magical texts, techniques, rituals, or cultural elements that are esoteric and not readily accessible to the general public. Sorcery and magic are pervasive in Muslim communities worldwide, encompassing a wide range of activities. Divination seeks to predict future events or gain insights into the unseen, while magic aims to influence events by invoking supernatural forces. Practices include protection against malevolent spirits, the evil eye, demons, and wicked jinn, which are believed to cause diseases and misfortunes. Conversely, rituals intended to bring good fortune, health, elevated status, honor, and power are also common. Techniques such as evocation, lotteries, and amulet creation are frequently employed. Magic is regarded as a significant aspect of daily life and practice in both contemporary and historical Islamic contexts. Magic and sorcery represent efforts to understand, experience, and influence the world through rituals, symbols, actions, gestures, and language. The Arabic term for magic signifies the transformation of something from its true nature into something illusory or merely apparent. Dawah, meaning invitation, encompasses two main dimensions: external dawah, which involves inviting non-Muslims to Islam and educating them about Islamic beliefs and practices, and internal dawah, which focuses on instructing Muslims about their faith. Dawah is a communal obligation. If certain individuals undertake this task, the responsibility is fulfilled for the entire community. If no one performs this duty, the responsibility and resulting consequences fall upon everyone. Those engaged in dawah, known as da'is, should be well versed in the fundamental teachings of Islam. The concept of dawah involves promoting Islam as a religion and the message received by the Prophet, which includes worshipping Allah alone and avoiding polytheism. It also pertains to spreading Islam and Allah's message to humanity. The Quran instructs believers to guide others to the path of Allah with wisdom and equitable preaching. Invite humanity to the path of your Lord with wisdom and just preaching. Engage in discourse in the most effective manner. Indeed, your Lord is most knowledgeable of those who have deviated from his path, and he is most aware of those who are rightly guided. Quran, Surah An-Nahl, 125. Dawah involves a profound belief and trust in Allah, calling for adherence to Islamic teachings. This includes performing the 5 daily prayers, giving zakat, fasting during Ramadan, undertaking pilgrimage, and believing in Allah, his angels, his books, his messengers, the day of resurrection, and predestination, while worshipping Allah with the sense of his presence. Dawah encourages the promotion of good deeds and avoidance of immoral behavior, aiming to guide individuals from disbelief to Islam. In practice, dawah should be conducted by knowledgeable scholars using appropriate methods and strategies. Several factors drive individuals to seek assistance from sorcerers and fortune tellers, including weakened faith, materialism, worldly desires, jealousy, and insecurity. Among these, the erosion of faith is a primary concern. Weak faith is a prevalent issue in a transient world full of trials and challenges. Genuine faith develops over time and distinguishes between strong and weak beliefs. During periods of hardship, individuals' responses are often influenced by their faith and recognition of divine blessings. A deficiency in faith can lead to impatience and a failure to appreciate divine blessings, exacerbating spiritual decline. When individuals perceive challenges as punishments rather than opportunities for growth, they become susceptible to deceptive influences. This often leads to a pursuit of immediate gratification, neglecting the understanding that true fulfillment lies in the afterlife. As a result, some individuals may turn to sorcery and magic, disregarding spiritual teachings in favor of temporal gains. When faith is compromised, individuals may begin to question or reject religious teachings and divine wisdom, attributing their difficulties to external factors rather than reflecting on their own actions that may have contributed to their circumstances. Consequently, some individuals pursue wealth, knowledge, honor, or power at any cost, often at the expense of patience and perseverance. Their quest for temporary gains can foster negative emotions like hatred and jealousy, which further drive them towards sorcery. Hatred and jealousy, alongside weakened faith and materialism, are significant motivators for seeking sorcery. Those who harbor intense negative emotions towards perceived superiors may become prey to deceptive influences. The devil exploits these emotions to create division and discord. Such individuals may respond to kindness with increased animosity, making it challenging to alter their disposition. The most prudent approach is to seek refuge from malevolent forces. Sorcery practitioners often exacerbate conflicts within families and communities, manipulating relationships to instigate discord. This phenomenon involves individuals seeking to harm others through sorcery, leading to their downfall. Individuals who engage in sorcery often fail to realize that they only incur losses. Their actions result in detriment, where the only benefit is to please malevolent forces at the expense of their true purpose, to worship the divine and avoid associating partners with him. Hatred and jealousy frequently stem from insecurity, which is another driving force behind seeking sorcery. Insecurity can significantly impact mental well-being. True security encompasses inner tranquility, regardless of material wealth. Inner security, achieved through the belief in divine will regarding financial gains or losses, fosters peace and prevents ethical shortcomings. Conversely, a lack of inner security can lead to desperation, prompting individuals to seek superficial means to address issues such as physical appearance or loneliness. The proliferation of sorcery in societies, driven by material desires, has led some individuals to engage in immoral acts. Sorcerers may manipulate others into egregious behaviors, undermining their faith and ethical principles. Reports indicate that sorcerers and magicians have garnered a disturbing level of societal respect, with their activities becoming increasingly public. They often perform in high-traffic areas such as vehicle parks and markets, using sinister tools like snakes and knives to intimidate and manipulate individuals, especially those with vulnerable faith. These practitioners might perform acts such as inserting snakes into individuals' clothing or inflicting superficial wounds to exert control. Evidence supports the observation that some individuals, having weakened their faith, frequently turn to magicians and sorcerers for guidance when confronted with difficulties. This practice is driven by material desires, leading people to engage in occult activities, including nocturnal rituals in cemeteries, which are contrary to the beliefs held by others who remain unaware of these practices. Further observations reveal that many individuals are deceived into believing that sorcerers can address their material needs. These practitioners often involve their clients in morally dubious activities, such as acquiring graveyard sand, menstrual blood, semen, human body parts, or engaging with jinn. This deception is often fueled by prevalent superstitions, causing some individuals to turn to sorcery rather than seeking divine assistance. In political spheres, it has been noted that some politicians support sorcerers, mistakenly believing that such alliances will grant them political power. These politicians may participate in ritualistic practices, such as burying animals alive, or be misled by fraudulent individuals posing as Islamic scholars who provide charms and amulets purported to offer protection from adversaries. Research also indicates that women represent a significant portion of clients seeking sorcery services. Women often turn to sorcerers in an attempt to control their husbands or prevent them from taking additional wives, which can jeopardize marriages and lead to divorce upon discovery of their involvement with sorcery. Sorcerers are reported to be indifferent to personal relationships, focusing instead on undermining faith. This includes subjecting individuals to degrading practices during supposed therapeutic rituals, irrespective of religious implications. Contemporary media has allowed sorcerers and magicians to advertise their services openly, which exacerbates the problem by encouraging individuals to seek material gains through occult practices. This situation has prompted calls for intervention from Islamic leaders and affluent community members. Sorcery, as an act of polytheism, shirk, nullifies the positive deeds of the practitioner. Engaging in sorcery involves following demons, committing morally reprehensible acts, and rejecting divine teachings. This practice is condemned in the Quran, which states that devils descend upon deceitful and sinful individuals. Sorcery is also known to cause discord within families and among friends. It can undermine willpower, leading individuals to perceive harmful things as beneficial. The consequences of sorcery can include death, illness, cognitive impairment, and distorted perceptions. The use of sorcery to gain unjust advantages is prevalent among some individuals who, when faced with challenges, turn to occult practices rather than seeking lawful solutions. This practice often arises in situations of loss, illness, or prolonged difficulties. The Islamic perspective emphasizes that sorcery is a grave sin with severe consequences. Major sins, particularly those involving the association of partners with the divine, are considered acts of war against divine principles. Such sins are punished severely both in this life and the afterlife. As stated in the Quran, associating partners with Allah results in the prohibition of paradise and condemnation to hell. Intercession on behalf of individuals who commit shirk is not accepted by Allah due to its severity. Sorcery is considered a major sin as it involves disbelief in Allah and the association of partners with Him. This practice has been explicitly prohibited by Allah and condemned by the Messenger of Allah. According to Abu Hurairah, the Messenger of Allah listed the 7 destructive sins, including associating partners with Allah, practicing sorcery, taking innocent lives unjustly, consuming usury, devouring orphans' wealth, fleeing from battle, and accusing chaste women of adultery. Sorcery nullifies the good deeds of its practitioner, as it inherently involves shirk. Becoming the sorcerer necessitates engaging in actions such as seeking favors from devils, performing sacrifices, prostrating to jinn, rejecting the Quran, consuming impure substances, and committing other heinous acts. By associating partners with Allah and obeying Satan, sorcerers manipulate jinn and devils to fulfill their demands in exchange for their disbelief. Sorcerers are also characterized by deceitful, corrupt, and shameless behavior. The Quran states that devils descend upon deceitful and sinful individuals. Sorcery is prevalent among some uninformed individuals who use it to gain unfair advantages and inflict harm. Victims of sorcery are considered to be under distress, and Allah supports them. The Messenger of Allah stated that belief in omens, practicing soothsaying, and engaging in sorcery are incompatible with faith. The Messenger of Allah also mentioned that those who engage in specific magical practices, such as tying knots and blowing into them, are practicing sorcery, which is equated with shirk. Allah's declaration that magical tricks will not succeed, regardless of the magician's skill, reinforces the futility of such practices. Scholars agree that sorcery can have a real impact only with Allah's permission, and thus seeking protection from it is necessary. The legal stance on sorcery includes execution if involvement in it is proven, according to Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik, and Imam Ahmad. Historical records indicate that some companions of the Prophet, including Umar, ordered the execution of sorcerers. Such actions aim to protect society from harm, eradicate manifestations of sorcery, and preserve Islamic beliefs and values. Even if a sorcerer repents, the severity of their actions warrants execution to prevent further harm. Individuals often misinterpret the feats of sorcerers, such as flying or healing the sick, as signs of saintliness, which can lead to idolization and seeking protection from them instead of from Allah. However, Islamic Sharia distinguishes between those who truly adhere to Allah's commands and those who engage in satanic practices. Friends of Allah are those who sincerely worship Him, avoid sin, and engage in righteous deeds. Performing supernatural acts is not a criterion for being a friend of Allah. The so-called miracles by ignorant individuals are manifestations of satanic influence intended to mislead people. Such practitioners often neglect key Islamic practices and indulge in immoral behavior. Allah describes these individuals as part of Satan's faction, which will ultimately face loss. Individuals who claim knowledge of the unseen, such as soothsayers, fortune-tellers, and astrologers, fall into disbelief. The Quran asserts that only Allah knows the unseen, and believing in the claims of such practitioners constitutes disbelief in the divine revelations. To address magical spells and sorcery, maintaining unwavering trust in Allah is essential. Engaging in supplication, reciting the Quran and authentic supplications, perfecting one's faith, avoiding shirk, and resisting malevolent individuals are key measures. Allah instructs believers to fully embrace Islam and avoid following Satan, who is a clear enemy. Furthermore, Allah advises obedience to Him and His Messenger, with a reminder that the Messenger's duty is to convey the message clearly. He also promises sufficiency for those who place their trust in Him. The Prophet affirmed that supplication benefits both past and future occurrences. Additionally, destroying materials associated with magical spells can help thwart sorcery. When the Prophet was affected by a spell from Labid ibn al-Asam, he removed and burned the materials from the well of Darwan. Persistent supplication to Allah was identified as the remedy for magic. Aisha narrated that a spell caused the Prophet to believe he had performed actions he had not actually undertaken. Allah revealed to him the source of the spell, which involved a comb with hair and pollen from a male date palm tree. These items were placed in a well by the sorcerer, Labid ibn al-Asam, to afflict the Prophet. When the well was identified, the Prophet instructed Ali ibn Abi Talib to retrieve the objects and destroy them, which led to his recovery. This incident highlights the importance of relying on divine intervention and prescribed remedies in the face of sorcery. The Prophet emphasized the necessity of rejecting superstitions and practices associated with magic. He taught that sorcery and omens are contrary to the principles of Islam, and those who seek out such practices or believe in them are engaging in actions that are incompatible with faith. It is essential to maintain trust in Allah and to adhere strictly to Islamic teachings, avoiding anything that contradicts them, including sorcery, soothsaying, and fortune-telling. Moreover, the Prophet outlined methods to protect oneself from sorcery, which include daily recitation of specific verses from the Quran, such as Ayat al-Kursi, Surah al-Baqarah 2, 255, and the last two verses of Surah al-Baqarah. Reciting the last three surahs of the Quran, Surah al-Ikhlas, Surah al-Falaq, and Surah an-Nas, every morning and evening is also recommended as a protective measure. Additionally, seeking refuge in Allah from the evil of what He has created, as mentioned in the daily supplications, helps safeguard against the harms of sorcery and other malevolent forces. The spread of sorcery in contemporary societies remains a significant concern. The advancement of technology and media has, unfortunately, allowed sorcerers and magicians to propagate their activities more widely, leading to an increase in their influence. This calls for concerted efforts from religious leaders, scholars, and community members to educate the public about the dangers of sorcery and the importance of upholding Islamic teachings in all aspects of life. Efforts to combat sorcery should also focus on addressing the underlying causes that drive individuals to seek out such practices. Promoting contentment, patience, and reliance on Allah can help mitigate the desires that lead to sorcery. Moreover, strengthening communal ties and providing support to those in need can reduce the allure of turning to sorcery for solutions to life's challenges. In conclusion, sorcery is a grave sin with severe consequences in both this life and the hereafter. It is a form of shirk that nullifies good deeds and leads individuals astray from the path of righteousness. The teachings of Islam provide clear guidance on how to protect oneself from sorcery and emphasize the importance of maintaining unwavering faith in Allah. Through education, communal support, and adherence to Islamic principles, individuals can resist the temptations of sorcery and live lives that are pleasing to Allah, free from the influences of malevolent forces.